it's Rachel with Journey Back Quilts, and today we're going to journey back to the basics. We're going to be making flying geese 4 at a time. Let's get started. To make these flying geese blocks 4 at a time, we're going to need a block that's 7.5 inches square and 4 blocks that are 4 1/8 inches. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with the last lesson and mark these going down the diagonal with my fun little chalk pen here. And I'll leave a link in the description box for this. But I'm just marking a line from the diagonal, one point to the next. And I leave my ruler off the corners just a touch so that my pen will rest exactly on those points. Just throw it around, right? So go ahead and mark all 4 of these. Once you have those all marked, we're going to put 2 of them on our square, matching up the raw sides on these 2 sides here. And then this one is going to overlay this one just a little bit as we match it up into the corners on this side. Okay, so you can see these are getting connected right here. Now we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam away from this line on either side of this block. So let's go do that first and then we'll come back to this cutting board. Okay, I am going to change my foot to my 1/4 inch foot. This has a little seam guide on it so that I can follow that 1/4 inch guide right down the edge of my line that I drew. I'm not going to need my leader fabric for this one probably. So once I get to this block, because I'm going into it, you may need to lift your foot to be able to keep that set down on your block. And then keep going all the way down. And now I'm just going to sew right off the block, lift my foot with my needle down, rotate my block all the way around and go down the other side. There we go. Now I'm going to go set my seams by just ironing everything flat so that it lays flat again. Let's go to the ironing board. So just iron this going flat. And then we're going to trim it down the diagonal that we just drew. So now we have 2 pieces. Next, we're going to iron these black pieces going up, just peeling those up, and it will look like a little pointy heart shape. So again, I'm just going to use my iron to butt against that seam so that my seam is laying against those little blocks. Do that to both of these. Next, we're going to take our other 2 squares that we marked, and we're going to be putting them going this way on the diagonal. So it's going right through the heart. On both of these, just line it up so that those raw edges are lined up exactly. Now we're going to be sewing again a 1/4 inch away from the line on both sides. So this is going to give us 4 flying geese blocks. Let's go to the sewing machine. Double check that everything's lined up exactly. And I'm going to start on this side away from this little heart so that it's a little less for my needle to go through at the beginning. So remember, a 1/4 inch away from that line. And I'm going to chain piece these. So I'm going to do my next block. Double check it's lined up. 1/4 inch away from that line. And just sew right off that block. Keep your needle down, lift your foot, and rotate both pieces so that we can go down the next side. Lift your foot, get that other block under there, line it up, and keep going. Okay, go ahead and clip apart those connecting threads. And let's go set those seams. Now we're going to trim these apart down that diagonal that we just drew. 1/4 inch away from each of those lines though. Not on the line. So now we have 2. And 4 flying geese. Isn't that great? Okay, let's iron them. Just like the other ones, we're just going to peel that block over and press it towards this side. Do that to all of your blocks. And now we want to square these up. So I want my finished flying geese to be 3.5 by 6.5. So again, just like that first video, I'm going to put this diagonal on the diagonal of my block with that point being right at the 3.25 inch line. So get that right on the diagonal, and then 3.25 is hitting right at my point. So I'm going to make sure that there's more fabric on the outside of the 3.5 inch mark and the 6.5 inch mark so that I can square up all 4 sides. It looks good, so I'm going to do this side and the top. Then rotate my block. Now I can line it up with the 6.5 inch mark and 3.5 inch mark. Again, double checking that that 3.25 is right there through the line and that we have 1/4 inch above our point so that when we put the next block on it, we'll keep that point intact. We don't want to chop it off. If it is not lining up correctly, then your block isn't sewn quite correctly, or you may need to iron out your sides a little better next time. So trim those 2 sides and our block is finished. So once you're all done with all of your blocks, then you can sew them into several different patterns like borders or sashing, or you can put them together in several different ways. You could put 2 going this way and 2 going this way, and then 2 going this direction and 2 going this direction, and make a really fun geometric looking block. Isn't that fun? So play with this block and see which kind of patterns you could create, and I would love to see them. If you go over to our Facebook page, which is called Your Quilting Journey Show and Tell page, you can post pictures of what you're creating, and I would love to see this block if you're making it. Great job! Hey, thanks so much for joining me today in making flying geese 4 at a time. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you and that you're going to go make them yourself. If you'd like more tips, tricks, and tutorials, I invite you to join us in our society, where you'll get a library full of these videos with tips, tricks, and helpful advice in your quilting journey. Next week, we'll be making square within a square blocks. I'll see you then.